Mr. Kanjilal. He also joins us in the studio with his take on the numbers and, of course, the kind of impact that we have seen into the currency coming in ahead of that itself. Mr. Kanjilal, hi, welcome. We did see the rupee react already to it. We are trading at a 7-week highs on a closing basis today. What's your sense? Was the market perhaps looking at a strong number?
Hi, Manisha. I mean, rupee has been on a strengthening mode now for a couple of days, actually. I think the Ukraine issue was taken into account very quickly, and it was discounted as it was clear that Russia wasn't really going to really call the shots in terms of really calling the shots. But having said that, we saw that most of the global emerging market currencies were on a back foot, so was the rupee. But then, as I said, that immediately we found that the emerging market sort of eased, and we found that the rupee also started strengthening. Now, the real reason why as to the rupee has strengthened and could strengthen into the future is basically because, capital account expenditure is really on hold. That is the main reason. I would say that before elections, many companies are holding back large expenditures on capital accounts. So India is as expected to keep on spending money on capital goods, has held up. So you find that CAD is improving. Well, that aside, my sense is that the RBI has also not allowed very sharp movements in the rupee on the other side as well, which is to say that they haven't allowed the rupee to strengthen overtly. So we have seen support for the dollar really somewhere in the region of 61.50 and thereabouts. So the collection of the dollars, as you see, 8 billion plus in this particular quarter or on this particular time, is basically because they have been buying dollars. And I think this situation is something which is what they had worked out, so that when there is an emergency, say if the rupee was to go above 65 or so, they will again like to ensure that there isn't a runaway move at that point of time, like we've seen in the past. So they are managing it very well, I must say. So gold imports is again another matter we have seen, and that is also something which has chipped in. But the major factor, I would say, is that companies are waiting by the sideline. They want to see the elections through. They want to see what the mandate is, and after that, I think they'll commit money for the longer term. So I think this situation shall continue, I think, till May and little beyond. But by and large, the Indian rupee will also be dictated, its course will also be dictated by the global markets, which in itself is quite uncertain right now. So I think going forward, there could be dollar strength where the rupee can again come under pressure.
So what is the kind of range, Mr. Kanjilal, that you would watch out for the rupee now? For the near term, of course, we have very positive fundamentals, as you just pointed out. But as we go ahead after the FY14, as we get into the thick of elections, how would you look at the currency?
Well, at every moment that we speak and we talk about the markets are factoring in all this. And I think that is the beauty of being in a market which is, excuse me, looking at the future in the present time. So I think what you're seeing today is what the markets are expecting maybe a couple of months down the line. So I must say that the rupee could be in a very narrow band, a very uninteresting, insipid band between 61.50 or 61.20, let's say, and 63.50 for the entire 3 months period that we are talking about. So I think the markets are resigned to that kind of possibility at this point of time.
Vijay, how is the rupee looking on the charts? A 7-week highs in the currency today. All the fundamentals are positive. The Ukraine issue, the strong equity, the emerging market currencies, and of course now the stronger numbers as well in sense of CAD.
Good evening, Manisha. I have been talking about the scope of appreciation for the INR being limited to 61, 60 odd levels. And you're approaching that threshold right now. If at all you do see any positive data emanating, I would give the rupee another percent and a quarter at best to appreciate, which would mean that the closer it gets to 61, the more you would see dollar buying emanate at lower levels. At this point in time, I am still of the opinion that before the end of March, there will be a spike up in the USD INR, and the trigger for that will be a crossover above the 62 and a quarter or maybe 62 and a half levels, in which case you could very easily see 63 quarter being revisited. I would remain a buyer of the USD INR at lower levels, and should I get the prompt month futures close to 61.5 odd levels, I would be a keen buyer.